To a diamond in the heart of Oklahoma comes a natural challenge. They're loose and they're ready, but the home team has a welcoming smile, looking to drill for hits and runs. Strap on your gear. It's time for the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. There are a lot of ways to get your kicks on Route 66, and in Tulsa, hard by the Arkansas River, a great way is to take in a minor league ball game at One Oak Field. And tonight, the Tulsa Drillers play host to the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. Hi, everybody. I'm Dick Gabriel, along with former Gold Glove winner Doug Flynn. Doug, tonight, Double-A baseball, but we're going to see some future major leaguers tonight.
Well, when you start looking up and down this roster, Dick, you realize that there are players here that are the tops in their organization. Tonight we're going to see a great brand of baseball. I love Double-A because you see an awful lot of prospects.
One of those prospects is a guy who's had to fight his way back into affiliated baseball.
Balbino Fuenmayor, and I could say that all night, but here's a kid that looked like his career was over. Spent 9 years in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays. He's come back this year with a new lease on life, and if you look at the Triple Crown categories, he's at the top of the list in the Texas League.
Just last year, he was playing independent baseball, but here he is. And for Tulsa, a young man, not quite as young as his teammates, but a Cuban import with great upside.
Well, there's been a lot of good Cuban players come over here, and here's another one. Hector Oliveira. Here's a kid that just signed a 6-year, $62 million contract. He can play, and they expect him to be in the big leagues by the end of this year.
Luke Farrell will get to start tonight on the mound for the Naturals, and if that last name Farrell sounds familiar, there's a good reason, and Lauren Gardner's downstairs to tell us why. Lauren?
Well, guys, that's because the right-handed starter is the son of Boston Red Sox manager John Farrell. And when I spoke with somebody close to the organization this afternoon, they told me that when asked about his son, Luke, the skipper said that he's extremely proud of the 24-year-old, describing the Northwestern graduate who likes to play guitar in his spare time as a deep thinker and someone that not only likes to challenge, but also be challenged. So, guys, even though the Red Sox game is underway in Baltimore right now, I have a feeling that Papa Farrell will be keeping track of his son's start this evening.
Thanks, Lauren. Coming up, starting lineups. It's the Naturals and the Drillers live from Tulsa, the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week.
Minor League Baseball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by On Deck, a leading provider of small business loans nationwide. Visit OnDeck.com to see how On Deck can take your business to the next level.
Back in Tulsa, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, and Lauren Gardner. Here's the way Northwest Arkansas will come to the plate. Lane Adams leading things off. There you see Fuenmayor in the cleanup spot. Bianucci with a 3-run homer last night for Northwest Arkansas. Facing Eric Stoltz, left-hander, 6'2", 220 out of Bethel, Indiana. Taken by the Dodgers out of Bethel College in the 15th round back in 2002. He's also pitched for the Rockies, the White Sox, the Padres, and the Braves. Also had a year in Japan, and he is trying to work his way back to the major leagues. We'll tell you more about that here in just a minute. Gorgeous night for baseball, though the temperature this afternoon here in Tulsa tickled 93 degrees, but there is a breeze. It is blowing in. I don't think we'll see many, if any, balls hit out of the ballpark, but you just never know. And we are underway. Glad to have you along here with the On Deck Minor League Game of the Week at One Oak Field in downtown Tulsa. Stoltz, 35 years old. Doug, you don't see that very often in Double-A baseball.
No, you don't, but, you know, one thing you're going to see tonight is just exactly how to pitch. He's not going to overpower anybody. He does have a fastball curve, changeup, and a good cutter. His cutter's used quite often as his out pitch. So he's been a great asset to this ball club because a lot of these young pitchers are starting to learn the game a little bit from him.
Stoltz spent last year with the Padres, where he went 8-17. Opened up this year with the Atlanta Braves, and actually started 8 games, went 1-5 with a 5.85 ERA. Right field, that's Yadir Drake drifting almost to the track. There's one out. Here's the way the Drillers will play defense around the outfield. Jeremy Rathjen at left. Peter Levine plays center field. There you see the right fielder Yadir Drake. And around the horn, Doug told you about Hector Oliveira, Adam Law at shortstop, Brandon Nixon, Lars Anderson over at first base, Zaraga behind the plate, and Eric Stoltz is on the bump tonight for the home team. They are part of the Dodgers organization for the first time this year. And you get a good look at Raul Mondesi, dad of the same name, a major league veteran. Stoltz reacquired by the Dodgers last month in a trade that sent Juan Uribe to Atlanta. Naturals managed by Vance Wilson in his second year in Northwest Arkansas. Began his major league career with the Royals. Mondesi, born in Los Angeles, he's a switch hitter. Signed by the Royals as a non-drafted free agent back in 2011. His pops, at one point, National League Rookie of the Year. Good change of speeds by Stoltz. 2 out.
That's what we're going to see a lot of. He's going to show him his fastball probably off the plate, come back with a good changeup like that. Boy, he seemed just so far out in front as Mondesi. The old equalizer, Dick.
Pretty good nickname for that pitch. I'm sure it didn't seem that way to you when you were batting.
Strikes seemed tough for me when I was batting.
Well, there's one to Alex Liddy, 26-year-old. He's from San Remo, Italy, 6'4", 225. Saw him last year in Tacoma. Signed with the White Sox as a minor league free agent back on 2013. Originally with the Mariners as an international free agent back in 05. First player born and raised in Italy to play in the major leagues. Made it up with the Mariners in 2011.
He's got a little pop in that bat. We saw some of that last year.
Well, he kind of opened the eyes of the Mariners back in 2011 in spring training. Back-to-back grand slams. Grand slams in back-to-back games, I should say, before they sent him down to Tacoma. Hit 30 home runs for the Rainiers that year. Drove in 104. Mariners brought him up in September. Went back up briefly in 2013. And was traded to the Orioles. Made his way to the White Sox. Kind of bounced around a lot of cities in the U.S. Getting a good look at this country of ours. Two down here. We're just underway in the top of the first inning at One Oak Field. Great look at the Tulsa skyline. Like a lot of minor league ballparks and major league ballparks, sort of featuring the downtown skyline as part of the vista.
Yeah, with few exceptions. Love the way they've come into areas of town where you can not only see the skyline, but it's really kind of perked up some of the city.
And Liddy draws a walk, so a man aboard with 2 down now for Northwest Arkansas. Naturals won a wild one last night. They scored 5 in the first. Added 6 more. Beat the Drillers 11-10. And that was in 9 innings. You hear a score like that, you assume it could be extras, but in fact the scoring ended after 7 innings. Albino Fuenmayor signed at age 16 for the Blue Jays. International player, you could do that.
Out of Venezuela.
Really tore things up for a while, but career kind of went cold and eventually found himself playing in the Frontier League, but didn't give up on himself and just destroyed the pitching in that league. And a Royals scout spotted him, decided to take another shot, and he's taking every opportunity.
Yeah, and he's still young, Dick.
Yeah.
He's only 25 right now, so A lot left. Boy, it takes a lot of fortitude, though, when you think of how much movement a lot of these guys have done already early in their careers. And then you see some of the guys that are a little bit older, but still with that dream of getting back to the big leagues, because it's so worth it once you get up there.
6'3", 230, which is why a lot of the home runs he hit, both in winter ball in Venezuela and in the Frontier League, were just legendary. That's straight up. Drifting over Anderson from first, and that'll do it. Naturals leave a man, but after 1/2 inning, no score. Tulsa's coming up. The On Deck Minor League Game of the Week. Back in Tulsa, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, no score as the Drillers come to bat for the first time. Here's the way they'll do that. Adam Law to lead things off, followed by Peter Levine, Yadir Drake, Lars Anderson batting cleanup, Hector Oliveira in the 5-hole, Sean Zaraga behind the plate, Daniel Mayora batting in the 7-hole, followed by Brandon Dixon. Jeremy Rathjen had a 2-run homer last night in the loss at Northwest Arkansas. Luke Farrell on the hill for Northwest Arkansas. There you see he's making his 4th start of the year. Good ERA, and in 14 innings, 14 strikeouts, and just 5 walks. And as Lauren told you, a product of Northwestern University. And Doug, this is a young man who had to undergo surgery not once but twice to remove a golf ball sized tumor from his neck. And you are a cancer survivor in the neck, and you know how scary that can be. And they went in the first time and realized that they couldn't quite get at it the way they thought, so they had to go back in again. And he has had to battle his way back from dramatic weight loss and, of course, loss of strength and appetite, all that stuff. And here he is, a great prospect for the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, what a great story. I mean, just going through that, and you're right, after they tell you that you got the C word, it kind of throws you back a little bit, but it sounds like he's got some great therapy, great doctors. He's doing well, and now that he's got his strength back, he's just going to get his mechanics in order, and you're right. Of course, he had a pretty good guy to lean on, too, when he was going through all of this.
And that's his dad. And how great is it? We were talking before the game about how you can just call your dad and talk baseball as Gore makes the grab. We'll take a look at the defense for the Naturals. Liddy, Gore, and Adams across the outfield. Dozier, Mondesi, DeKroger, and Fuenmayor around the horn, and Evans behind the plate in defensive Farrell. But your dad was a great baseball player and played in the semi-pro leagues. I know you probably growing up, I know you talked baseball with him, but imagine being able to dial your pops as long as there isn't a game going on with the Red Sox and being able to talk baseball with a major league manager.
Yeah, that's got to be special. And I should have listened to my dad, because he was very good at what he did. And unfortunately, I thought I could do it better, and I didn't. And one of the things I'll always regret is not listening to him more about how good a hitter he was. You know, when your dad tells you he can play, you really don't believe it all the time. Right. And then when other people say he can play, you say, Dad, come.
You weren't around when he was playing, though.
Well, just when I was very small, you know, I remember some of it.
Peter Levine trying to get on track this year. Trying to climb above that 200 mark. A couple of homers. He's driven in 10. Wind is now blowing right to left, but it's been blowing in virtually the entire afternoon. We arrived earlier today at One Oak Field. They tell us, though, that the way a lefty such as Levine, the way he swings, if he can go the other way, he might be able to get it into that jet stream. But he's down on strikes. And there are 2 down. Good start for Farrell.
Well, just a good pitch, good location, put it in the right spot. I tell you, we've done a lot of games, and when you look at these uniforms of some of the teams, you really can't tell what big league club you're with. Man, the Dodgers, they don't deviate too much, do they?
No, sir. Yadir Drake with a good cut into the stands. Not a bad crowd today. They were a little concerned, and the crowd, by the way, still filing in here at One Oak. Concerned because of the heat, but it has broken here in Tulsa. A nice breeze and a great night for baseball. Change of speeds. That's a strike by Farrell. Drake a couple of homers. He's driven in 16. 4 doubles on the year. Got that outside corner. Back-to-back strikeouts for Farrell and a good start for the Naturals. We'll go to the second inning. No score here in Tulsa. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Back in Tulsa, northwest Arkansas, and the Drillers locked up no score in the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, and you've heard us talk throughout the year about On Deck. That's our sponsor this year, our title sponsor. And here to tell us more about it is James Hobson, who's the Chief Operating Officer of On Deck. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your support. Tell everybody what On Deck is.
Well, thank you for having me. And you know, On Deck is a company where we are here to help small businesses get the capital they need to grow. So we're very excited about our sponsorship of minor league baseball.
When I learned about On Deck, my initial response was small businesses, community, minor league baseball, part of some small communities, some big ones like Tulsa. But, you know, northwest Arkansas, you know, just a perfect fit.
Absolutely. We, you know, we believe small businesses are the cornerstone of America. You know, they create jobs, they serve their local communities. So this sponsorship was really a perfect fit for us. You know, here in Tulsa and then in 20 other local communities, we're sponsoring the teams. So we couldn't be more pleased with the sponsorship.
Okay, we're not talking peanuts either. What, over $2 billion, did I hear?
Yeah, that's right. So we've lent over $2 billion to over 700 different kinds of small businesses across the country.
Wow. And you gave out an award tonight, which I thought was pretty special. Yeah,
it was great. So we recognized George's Pub here in Tulsa. You know, Corey is a great small business owner. Has been in the restaurant business for a long time, and 5 years ago went out on his own. So it was great for us to be able to recognize him and the impact he's having on his community.
There you get a good look at Corey before the game. Corey Crandall of George's Pub, that's in Jenks, Oklahoma, with the greatest, I think, award ever. Voted best place to take your dad for a beer by the Tulsa World.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think it's fantastic. I'm looking forward someday for my son taking me for a beer.
There you go.
He's only 5, so you know we got a ways to go. But
now he threw out the first pitch. Did a
yeah, he was a little worried. He said he's a soccer player, but he nailed it. So.
Well, I tell you what, my partner's going to be throwing out a first pitch in a few days, and he ought to be being a former Gold Glove infielder, but that's got to be a nerve-wracking period. But how did the idea for On Deck come about?
So really, the notion of On Deck was that small businesses needed a better solution for capital, and really On Deck came from when, you know, a bank might not be able to serve your needs. We're On Deck, so we started the company about 8 years ago. As you mentioned, $2 billion, over 30,000 small businesses we've been able to help. So it's been a great journey.
So tell me about your little baseball background. Are you a baseball fan?
I am a fan, and this is a.
Please don't say Cardinals, okay? Because my partner here loves the Cardinals.
That's right.
Well, you know, sometimes you get lucky. I grew up in L.A., and while I live on the East Coast now, I'm still a diehard Dodger fan, so it's great to be here with their affiliate.
Oh, man. You're
nice having you, James. We'll see you later.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's changed a lot. Of course, growing up in the Cincinnati Reds organization, there was only East and West, and so we knew that we had to beat the Dodgers to even go to the playoffs. So Tommy Lasorda probably let me know right then that there was going to be a rivalry, and to this day will remind me of that.
Sure.
Why did you decide to come up with an award for the small business, like the one Corey won?
Well, you know, we think that, you know, Corey and George's Pub is really typical of small businesses across the country. And, you know, we just, we believe in being an active participant in our customer success. And so, you know, we found this partnership. We wanted to do more than just slap our logo on some stadiums. And so it's really being about getting out and in the communities and recognizing businesses that are growing. Corey's been growing his businesses. He serves over 1,700 customers on a weekly basis, and we think that's fantastic.
Hunter Dozier with a hard shot to third. And 2 outs.
I think that when you come and you've been a part of minor league baseball now, to me, I haven't spent 3 years in the minor leagues playing before I got to the big leagues, but it's still the purest form of baseball that you can see. You've got kids that are still hungry. They're not making the really big money. They're out here playing for each other. Your relationships that you make in minor league baseball are those that will continue even through business when you get through playing the game.
Yeah, I think that's great, and we're really happy to be part of it.
You are a young father, and you talked about perhaps someday taking your own son, or your son taking you out. But have you had a chance to come to many of the minor league ball games?
You know, so this is the first one that I've been able to. I've taken my kids to a couple games in New Jersey. Trenton Thunder, another team that we support, so I'm looking forward to getting out there. But it's just fantastic, and you know, even walking around, lots of families bringing their kids. It's great.
We have a few more questions for you if you'll stay put. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. We'll go to the bottom of the second. No score in Tulsa. Back in a minute on the On Deck minor league baseball game of the week. Yes, indeed, it is the Fat Guys Challenge here at One Oak Field.
How did I not get invited to that?
You're pretty svelte right now, I think. I think we'll all agree. Welcome back, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. James Hobson is the Chief Operating Officer of On Deck, our title sponsor with a minor league baseball game of the week. And we're talking a lot about the way your company lends to small businesses. And some of your stats are just staggering when you talk about the jobs that these loans make possible. What are some of the numbers there?
Yeah, well, you know, it's getting capital to help businesses grow is really important, and you know, small businesses have a harder time than normal. So, you know, we looked at the first $1 billion we've been able to lend across the country, and that created over 22,000 jobs.
That's
it would
just
not
the
have been
first billion.
That was just the first billion, so that was what we studied. But you know, those jobs wouldn't have been able to be created if these businesses didn't have capital. So, you know, we're really proud to play a part in helping our small business customers.
And those 22,000 jobs led to what kind of economic impact?
Well, when you look at that, they created over $3.4 billion in economic impact.
Wow.
So, you know, really impacting the community. And, you know, George's Pub is a perfect example. Started 5 years ago. You know, Corey's been growing that business 40% a year. He now has 13 employees. So we think, you know, he's the perfect example of the type of business we hope to help.
And as I understand it, he needed a loan for an air conditioner. Now, that's a good-sized air conditioner, and that sounds like a small thing, but it's not.
No, it's not. And, you know, these things are critical to business. And so I was lucky enough to have lunch at George's Pub today. It was great. And, you know, we talked about it, and it was just an abnormally hot summer. And, you know, if he couldn't get that and get it quickly, that's
and
really
folks,
important.
We're talking about an Oklahoma summer, right?
That's right. I hear it can be. Today is hot, but I hear it can be worse.
Yeah.
So you know, we think the process is important. So you know, he was able to get that loan in a matter of days, and you know, being able to sort of respect the fact that small business owners only have a certain amount of time, and being able to get them a quick decision and to get that quick capital quickly is very important.
Lars Anderson leading things off here. No score, bottom of the second.
Yeah. Speaking of the process, is that pretty normal when getting it done that fast?
No, you know, if you're going to look at a traditional process from a more traditional lender, it's going to take weeks. You know, there was a study that just came out that said 33 hours of time of a small business owner, and we just think that's much too long. So, you know, we aim to be able to only do it in a few minutes or a couple hours at the small business owner's time.
Luke Farrell only needed 11 pitches to retire the side in inning number 1, so off to a good start for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. Learning about small business loans, James Hobson, just out of the reach of Evans and Fuenmayor. Were you a baseball nut growing up? You talked about being a Dodger fan.
I was a baseball fan. Played other sports, tennis a lot, and basketball. Wasn't very good once I encountered a curveball in Little League, so I became a fan more than a participant of that.
I noticed he looked right at me when he said that.
Can we relate?
Yes, we can. That curveball and slider got me into slow pitch softball eventually.
And, you know, it seems like we're talking a lot about what you guys have already accomplished, and it seems like the potential for growth with your company is pretty amazing.
Yeah, you know, we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to try to make sure that we can make small businesses know that there's an alternative out there. So, you know, for all small businesses, not just here in the Tulsa market, but across the country, I would encourage you to go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com On Deck Capital, and apply for these awards, because we're doing these awards across the country, as I said, in over 20 other markets, and you know, we're there to help small businesses.
I was going to say, Corey's not the only one who's won an award, right? You've given out more than 20?
Yep, and we're going to continue to give them out throughout the season, and then at the end of the year, we will have a small business winner of the year that we're going to recognize. So it's been a fun time for us.
Hector Oliveira, but a tremendous stop by Dozier taking a hit away from this prospect. So we get a chance to see him for one pitch. Take another look at this, Doug. He absolutely, this is what we saw in batting practice today.
Yeah, the ball's got a different sound. You can see a good jump, kind of fighting the sun a little bit too, because he is, when he plays back on the infield, you can see where the shade kind of cuts off a little bit, but his head is in the sun. He had a hard time picking that ball up, makes a good play.
So now Sean Zaraga, 236 average. He's driven in 5 runs so far this year.
Good look right there at the field. You can see where the shadows come in, and Luke Farrell cruising along right now.
You mentioned Trenton, so what is home for you?
So I live in Little Silver, New Jersey. It's about an hour south of New York City. We've been there for 8 years. It's a fantastic community.
Well, here's the way baseball binds people. My mom was from Trenton, and never let me forget that the Trenton Giants, who were a Class C team back in the day when she grew up, featured a center fielder named Willie Mays. So it just scans generations, doesn't it?
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Are you near Rutgers by any chance? Is that
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Pretty close. That's and as fate would have it, my lovely wife of 33 years, a Rutgers grad.
There you go. So do you travel a lot? Do you go in and try to check out as many of these small businesses as you can?
You know, we travel a lot. Today I had the opportunity to visit 3 of our customers here in the Tulsa area, so that was fantastic. And, you know, just hearing about, you know, how we can continue to do more for them. So it's great always to get in front of your customers.
How many states?
So we lend in all 50 states. As I said, we've lent to over 700 different kinds of small businesses. So, you know, each business can be similar, but they're all unique. And, you know, we're here to help them all.
Well, I tell you, it's an honor to be able to have you guys doing this for minor league baseball, because it's a fun way to bring the family, enjoy yourself at the ballpark, see some great baseball, and at the same time do things with the family. So we're really proud to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it.
Adam Squeezes for round number 3. Great to meet you. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
James Hobson of On Deck, and that'll do it for inning number 2. Back in a minute with the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Great night to take in a game on the berm at One Oak Field in Tulsa. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Let's go down to Lauren Gardner. Earlier she talked with an old friend of Doug Flynn. Razor shines.
Thanks, guys. Well, Skip, you're a bit of a legend in this game with over 500 wins in the minors. I believe the Indians even have a statue of you in Indianapolis. How have you parlayed that success into the managing role?
Well, you know, when talking about a legend, that's not me. You know, I've done some things in this game that hopefully people will appreciate, but as far as I'm concerned, my role is to help develop players and help get them to the big leagues, and that's what I think I do best.
You spent a little bit of time with the Mets and the White Sox as a third base coach, and now you're here in your first year as a manager with the Drillers. What lured you to the Dodgers organization?
Well, the Dodgers drafted my son out of Oklahoma State University, and that was the same year in which the Mets kind of revamped their coaching staff, and I took that year off to follow him and was offered a position managing in the Dodgers organization.
So they liked your style.
I like to think they do.
Let's talk about your big league debut for a minute. 1983 Montreal Expos, and you're playing alongside our good friend upstairs, the self-proclaimed glue of the Big Red Machine. Do you have any dirt on him?
Well, I tell you what, you're talking about glue is a good word, because if you hit it to him, you were out. I mean, he had gold. This guy missed nothing, and he looks like he's in shape now to continue to play.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to get out there for BP. Thanks a lot, Skip. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
And as we were in that tape piece, Kenny DeKroger goes yard, and as we mentioned, the wind is blowing in, but they told us if you can get it up in that area out and left, that's kind of the jet stream, and it'll carry Doug, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, one of the few mistakes Stoltz has made, and the ball got up in the zone a little bit. He's been throwing most of his pitches either in off the plate or down and away. That time got one across the middle of the plate. That was a BB hit out of here.
In the first 2 innings, Stoltz had faced 7 batters and had thrown each a first pitch strike. So simply a mistake, and DeKroger with his first home run of the year. And the visitors take a 1-0 lead. Terrence Moore trying to use that speed and does so effectively. Infield single now for the number 9 hitter. And again, Doug, during BP, we watched everybody working their bunting, and I know you like that.
Yeah, I do. It's kind of a lost art when you look at the big leagues now, and I think the period of baseball where guys were getting so big and strong and allegedly were using performance-enhancing drugs, I think the bunt kind of got away from the game a little bit. And now it's kind of, you see it maybe being used a little bit more where you try to manufacture some runs.
Now Lane Adams, top of the order, as they'll try to keep Terrence Gore at bay. Adams a fly ball to right his last time up. Lives in Red Oak, Oklahoma. 13th round pick in '09. First of a 3-game set, but it's only going to take 2 days. A doubleheader scheduled for these teams tomorrow. And we're told it's going to be a little more pleasant. Temperatures may not tickle the 90s as they did today.
Hey, Dick, when we saw that Lauren interview with Razor Shines, very humble, kind of the way he's always been. But I tell you what, he's a legend when it comes to minor league baseball, and not only as a player, but as a manager.
Gore on the move, and an easy stolen base for the Northwest Arkansas center fielder.
And he got an excellent jump that time. You see him going on first movement, basically. Man, shows some really good speed, goes into that bag hard. I tell you, they're running, they're turning it. You get a lead, you can start being a little more open with your running game.
Gore, part of the Royals 40-man roster.
How about that Kansas City team, man? Last year, would you have thought? And then you watch some of the talent they got. That playoff that they went through was one of the most amazing I've ever seen.
Absolutely. And building from the ground up, from the minors up, and Gore just might figure into their future. In fact, he's already been up once this year. Spent a couple of days up to replace Alex Rios when he was injured.
Saw that ball hit hard past third base coach Vance Wilson, who a fine catcher in the major leagues for a lot of years, outstanding manager here now in the minor league system.
So a run in, nobody out, and a man on second as Stultz beginning to struggle a bit with Lane Adams at the plate. He's driven in 8 on the year. Vance Wilson in his first managerial appointment. Kane County Cougars in the Midwest League took him to the playoffs in 2011.
Well, a lot of catchers end up being very good managers, and he said one of the reasons they learned to multitask very rapidly coming up through the system. But he was a good defensive catcher, had a lot of injuries. Of course, he was playing behind some guy named Mike Piazza, so that made it a little bit tougher, but now lives just a mile from the ballpark, says he's got one of the best jobs in all of baseball.
Yep. Drafted by one of your former teams, the New York Mets, back in 1993. Adam Law had to go a long way to field that. That's another infield single. Law was keeping an eye on Gore at second base, Doug, and that's what a threat like him can do.
Yeah, that ball just had base hit written all over it. Sort of playing up the middle a little bit, as you said, to watch the base runner, because you're expecting the hitter maybe to try to take a shot the other way, but just a good pitch down in a way that he's able to hit in a perfect position and then good speed to beat out a hit.
Third consecutive base hit of the inning. And Stultz now up to 47 pitches after getting off to an economical start in the first couple of innings. But a double play situation presenting itself with Raul Mondesi at the plate.
I think they just put a ball up. I don't know if it has to do with the time clock or not,
right.
but there's a ball just put on there.
They sure did.
Something that we rarely saw early, but now we're starting to see a little bit more and hearing that they're calling more.
Pitch clock in play here in the minor leagues. A couple of weeks ago, we saw a controversial strike 3 called thanks to the pitch clock. Batter was late getting into the box.
You know, I think a good rule for that would be you can't leave the box just stay in there, and it's going to speed the games up a little bit. I don't know how much the clock is going to do. They're experimenting AA and AAA this year. One of the things is if the pitcher's in the dirt and the hitter's in the dirt, then they start that clock. But we've seen a lot of guys call timeout when it was getting good. Look at the clock right there on the side of the fence.
Now Mondesi struggling to get the bunt down. Count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes as Stoltz battles back.
I tell you, this kid's daddy could swing the bat. I remember when he first came up, thick, big, athletic looking, had a good arm, could play all. I mean, out in the outfield, used to watch him throw runners out. Just, man, was he a player.
Stoltz tries to bring it down and in from the left side. Count full. Nobody out here in the top of the 3rd inning in Tulsa. A run in. Naturals threatening now. And Zaraga wants to have a word with his starting pitcher. Yadier Drake is pulled in right field several steps, expecting Mondesi perhaps to just stick the bat out and go the other way. And you see the defensive alignment. You see Peter Levine in a couple of steps in center as well. Rathjen straight away in center, or in left rather.
And Mondesi, not a very big, he's not built like his dad, but you know that he can run. Hitting in that second hole where he can move runners. Of course, he didn't get the bunt down, and a little fake back there just to make sure Gore's not going anywhere.
Now you see Adam Law once again pulled over toward the bag, not expecting Mondesi to get around on Stoltz. Looking for the double play.
You know, he's playing really close. Law, who we're talking about, playing close to that bag there. You know, there's 2 strikes on the hitter. He may want to move back towards the hole just a little bit. Let the second baseman help him. Good look right there at the positioning. And
this will be pitch number 20 in this inning. Runners go, and Mondesi delivers. An RBI single, and now runners at the corners, and nobody out. Mondesi's going to take second on the throw that gets away from Oliveira at third base. So a productive at-bat for Mondesi, and the defense betrays Stoltz a little bit. So now a run in, runners at second and third, and a throwing error assessed to Jeremy Rathjen. First error of the ball game.
This ball's hit. The runner's go on the line drive, and watch the shortstop here. The throw will come in, and he almost dekes the third baseman. He did hit the bag. I think originally Gore looked like he might have missed it, but the shortstop almost faked out the third baseman, Oliveira, that time, and throw got away from him, which allowed Mondesi to go to second base.
Now Matt Herges, the pitching coach, paying a visit. Let's go downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
And guys, I'm assuming the pitching coach heard just with some encouraging words for the 35-year-old. I spoke with her just before tonight's game, and he said that it's been an absolute pleasure coaching Stoltz. He said that he has about a 95 pitch limit for tonight. He'd like to see him go about 6 innings, but you know, a guy who's been in the game since 2002 playing pro ball, he knows what he's doing. He's going to let him do his thing, and he'll probably let him try and work this situation out.
That's a great point. He's been in worse jams. So now Alex Liddy will try to keep the string of base hits alive. It stands at 4 right now. He drew a walk his last time up. There you see his numbers, 5 homers. He's knocked in 24. Comes from a small town in Italy, not far from the French-Italian border. Stoltz quickly ahead on the count, no balls, 2 strikes.
You know, not overpowering, still up there around 89, 90 miles an hour with the fastball. Has made just a couple of mistakes, but some pretty good at-bats put on, too, by the Naturals.
Inning includes a home run, a bunt single, and an error. 0-2. Trying to get him to chase that elevated fastball.
The breeze feels really good now. Just starting to be a beautiful evening here in Tulsa.
Here's the 1-2. Got him to chase. Duraga has to make sure the runner stays at third before he throws him out. First out of the inning.
Good changeup that time.
Yep.
He kind of pounded him inside with a couple of fastballs and cutters and came back with a changeup away.
But now a dangerous stick, Balbino Fuenmayor.
I think I'll be saying that probably for the rest of the week.
Well, you practiced it all day and you're doing it very well.
You got to roll that R at the end a little bit, Mayor.
Well, your wife, whose family is from Puerto Rico, would be proud of you.
She would.
Instead, he will see the intentional walk to load the bases. Can't say as I argue with this move. With 2 runs in, 1 out, this will set up, of course, double play situation. Fuenmayor, the minor league baseball player of the month, announced on Tuesday. Led the Texas League in average runs, hits, extra base hits, slugging percentage, total bases.
You kind of expected tonight with the matchup these two guys throwing, Stults and Farrell, that there was a good possibility for a good pitcher's duel, because last start out, Stults 5 shutout innings.
Yep.
And then Farrell, of course, had 5 scoreless innings in his last start. So both pitchers seem to be finding their rhythm. And tonight we've seen Farrell very sharp. And then this inning, Stults in a little bit of trouble.
Up to 27 pitches in this inning. Runs it in on Zane Evans. Evans 0 for 1 tonight. But a 289 average. He's driven in 11.
Pitch looks so good, and that last movement runs inside on his hands.
Duraga manages to keep it in front of him and keep the runner at third base. It's Lane Adams. Evans out of Bethlehem, Georgia. 4th round draft pick back in 2013. 6'2", 225. Another one of those good-sized players you've been pointing out. Great pitch by Stults.
Boy, he just stays right in on those hands that time.
Yep.
And if he sticks to form, he'll either come back in there even a little bit deeper, or he'll try that change up down and away. But you see time up with that ball and that late movement.
Evans trying to pull off the ball to no avail. Same spot. A little bit more movement on the ball that time. Naturals last night with 3 triples. Bubba Starling, Parker Marin, Raul Mondesi. Alex Liddy is 2nd in the league in triples.
Up and away now, maybe a good time for that off-speed pitch. Of course, looking for something he can get the ground ball on.
Starling not in the lineup tonight for the Naturals. Here comes pitch number 34. Right now, the visitors really making a bid to get into that Tulsa bullpen. 3-2. Duraga giving chase and making the grab for out number 2. Another big out for Stults with the bases loaded.
He may got away with one. That ball just a little up and away. Sees Duraga go over, get a little help from his bench. Makes the play nice and easy.
Now Hunter Dozier trying to take advantage of a bases loaded situation here in Tulsa. 2 runs in, but 2 outs now for Dozier. Off the fists on the run, Rathjen can't get it. Everybody on the move on contact, and that's going to clean the bases. And it's a 5-run lead for the Arkansas Naturals on a hit off the handle by Hunter Dozier.
That had tough on it all the way. It's the Sun field. This ball was in on the hands, wasn't hit very hard, but hit in a good spot. And you could tell the Sun, he's battling the Sun right now coming in. Just quite can't get to it.
And as we said, because we're 2 outs, everybody moving on contact, Ratchin had to get up and chase the ball. So that cleans him off. Mike Bianucci will try to keep it going. 5th base hit of the inning. 5 runs for the National, or the Naturals, I should say. Bianucci 0 for 1 on the night.
And you know, Dick, it's not like they've been pounding them other than the home run, when the home run was hit quite well, obviously. But none of the other hits have been hit sharp. They've either been on the hands or off the end of the bat, but just in the right place.
And Mondesi squared his up, but it wasn't a rocket to left field. But he placed it perfectly there in the hole between short and third. No balls, 2 strikes. No action in the bullpen yet for Tulsa. Count holds 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mike Bianucci, Fairfax, Virginia. Signed last year as a free agent, 28 years old. Just trying to battle and hit anything that's near the strike zone.
Well, he keeps coming in with that same pitch. He keeps running in on their hands, and you know, hasn't gone away too often.
Originally drafted out of Auburn by the Rangers in the 8th round back in 08. Had some good seasons in the minor leagues for Texas. Back in 2011, led the Rangers farmhands in homers for the 3rd straight year. One, 2. Just missed the inside edge. Back in 09, Bianucci had a game against Asheville where he went 6 for 6. And when he played for the Hickory Crawdads. Ratchin on the move. And that'll do it finally for the Naturals. Here's how it got started. Leadoff hitter Kenny DeKroger with an opposite fielder, rather with a left field shot. 5 runs later, it's 5-0 Northwest Arkansas. Five 0 Northwest Arkansas leading Tulsa. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner here at One Oak Field. And be sure to be in front of your CBS Sports Network monitor Saturday at 7 Eastern for the MLL All-Star Game, the Major League Lacrosse All-Star Game. The All-Stars get together in the Lone Star State. The best of the best clash in this year's MLL All-Star Game, live from Houston only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Well, that's an exciting sport, Coach.
You're kind of a sports aficionado with everything, aren't you? You're like the...
Like lacrosse, I do.
Well, there's a lot of action in that.
Oh,
I've never quite figured it out because, but I love watching it because there's they just up and down the field scoring.
Yeah. Relentless action. It's a lot of fun to watch. Like, I'm trying to learn it a little bit. Never played it, but a buddy of mine played it quite a bit in college. Tried to explain it to me.
I think if I maybe understood it a little more, I'd probably know a little bit more about it.
A good chance to learn it by watching the All-Star Game.
And I will watch
night.
that, as a matter of fact. Thank you.
Sounds good. Farrell pitching into the 3rd inning. And has been really sharp tonight. 3 strikeouts already. As he faces Daniel Mayora for the first time tonight, designated hitter. 19 runs batted in. 3-game hitting streak. warming up a little bit after an 0 for 21 slump over 6 games. It's a good way to do it.
Tell you what, those slumps, you figure, how do you get in these things and how do you get out? I think one of the best lines I've ever heard. Pete Rose's son called him, asked him, he says, Dad, I'm 0 for 21. He said, how'd I get out of this slump? He said, what are you calling me for? He said, call Concepcion. I've only been 0 for 8.
Myra chasing up in the strike zone, but manages to stay alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's another guy who can call his dad, or at least did back when he was playing, and talk hitting at the highest level. Pete Rose Jr. We got a chance to chat with him a lot last year. His team playing in front of our cameras. Strike 3. That's number 4 for Farrell. Myra leads off the 3rd.
Boy, got ahead and just fired a breaking ball that only about a 58-footer. And Mayor out in front on that. But a good breaking ball. And once you get ahead in the count, man, those pitchers, they got you where they want you.
Brandon Dixon off to a slow start this year, but over his last 6 games, batting .292. A couple of doubles. Drillers playing from a 5-run hole. Here at One Oak Field. Drillers have played the fewest home games in the Texas League so far. But in overall attendance, they rank 3rd in the league. Tells you how the people here in Tulsa love their baseball. Year number 6 in this excellent facility.
Well, they did it right, didn't they?
In their first year here at the ballpark, they drew more than 400,000 fans. Hammered to right, but Adams hauls it in. And there are 2 out. And that figure, 408,000, the highest season figure in the history of Tulsa professional baseball. Drillers first came into existence in 1977.
Dick, they play a lot of events on this facility too. College, was it the Big 12? Is that what it is?
Yep,
Big 12 tournament was here. I would like to have some place like this to play when you're in college, man. That'd be pretty cool.
Also a facility where you'll see soccer, a popular sport here in Tulsa, with the Tulsa Roughnecks. Jeremy Rathjen trying to find his way on with 2 out. Just a 117 hitter.
I was very curious to see what kind of park they had built, since a lot of them really upgrading. And I mean, you'd never know this was AA. It's just fantastic. You feel like you're in just a little smaller big league ballpark.
Yep.
I mean, the field is immaculate. The seats, the suites. I was here in '74, played at the old Oilers. Heads up.
Tulsa Oilers, there was a AAA. Were they AAA back then?
AAA
Yeah.
with your Cardinals.
Owned by A. Ray Smith back then. The suites
Wow.
were not there back then.
That's fabulous.
Rathjen just manages to get the bat on the ball. Mondesi can't get him. Infield single, first hit given up by Farrell. And there are 2 out with a man aboard.
I tell you, Mondesi comes in, does a good job on that, Dick. He showed a little bit of that arm strength he has too. This is a tough play, good exchange. Wow, very close. Very, very nice play.
Mondesi showed some arm right there.
Yeah. From an off-balance position, he gets it. His exchange from the glove to the hand was what impressed me.
Adam Law with a fly ball his last time up. From Provo, Utah, 12th round pick back in 2013 out of Brigham Young. Grandson of Vern Law. The son of Vance Law.
Old teammate of mine.
Yep.
and one of the nicest people that you'll ever run into. The whole family. Great folks, great baseball family.
Great baseball family, exactly. If Law can get on base, he can do some damage. Coming into this, just his 3rd professional season, 73 career steals. Five spot for the Naturals in the top of the 3rd inning. Now you see the pitch count for Farrell. Comes off speed, gets the outside corner. Veteran ball player Charlie O'Brien will join us coming up in our next inning. Lives right here in Tulsa.
Tell you what, he had the opportunity to catch a few decent pitchers, didn't he?
That's true.
Wow, remember that 95 Atlanta Braves World Championship team? I just like to go in there and face that group every day. I mean, there's no off days when you go and have to face Glavine.
There's a
Smoltz,
good news, bad news
Maddox
thing there. If I had to face them, the good news is I'm in the major leagues. You know the bad news.
I lived the bad news.
That's why they called you bad news, wasn't it?
No, that was you got me confused with someone.
Oh, I see.
Farrell's showing a lot of pitches so far. We've seen fastball, is a breaking ball, which he likes to throw, the changeup. Had pretty good command of everything so far.
Just a remarkable story when you think about what he had to overcome just to get back to baseball, college baseball. Lauren mentioned the top of the broadcast. He's kind of a deep thinker, according to his family friend.
Did I hear you like to play guitar?
Like to play guitar. Kind of a Renaissance man.
Yeah. After all he's been through, though,
Yep.
probably doesn't get too upset if he makes a bad pitch.
That was a decent pitch, but a better swing by Law. Back-to-back base hits. Runners at first and second now with 2 out for the Drillers.
Boy, nice piece of hitting there. Didn't try to pull it. Got him a pitch that he just waited on, kept his hands back. Pitches on the outside part of the plate, up in the zone a little bit. That's probably why Farrell's just a little bit upset. Boy, smokes it to right field. Nice hitting. That'll make Papa Vance happy.
Now Peter Levine. 20th round pick by Philadelphia back in 2011. First pitch swinging. Mondesi gives way to Liddy, and that'll do it. The Drillers threaten. They put 2 men on, but that's where they remain. And we'll go to the 4th. 5-0 Northwest Arkansas. It's the On Deck minor league game of the week. River Park's west of downtown Tulsa, part of this great area here in Oklahoma. Welcome back. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Joined in the booth now by Charlie O'Brien, a longtime Major League veteran. Between these two guys, 24 years of Major League Baseball. How much fun was that?
It goes by real quick.
Does it?
It was a blast. I mean, being raised here in Tulsa and getting a chance to do it for that long, I was real fortunate, blessed.
How many teams?
8 different teams.
Wow.
Yeah, but a World Series under your belt.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, with 95. No, I won a 95 with Atlanta.
What was that like with that pitching staff?
Made my job very easy. I really didn't have to work very hard.
Kenny DeKroger to lead things off. He homered his last time up as the Naturals batted around. Do you get to come to this ballpark much?
Actually, my son was actually going to start the season here. He's actually in AA with the Dodgers and got traded like 3 hours before the game.
Wow.
Wow.
So.
All right, I got to ask you something, because all these years I watched those guys pitch. Well, I know the dish is, what, 17 inches. When Maddox pitched, how big was it?
Probably 26. And the thing about him is he forced those guys to call strikes because they just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there. And, you know, if they call the ball, and I'm not moving, you know, everyone's hollering and screaming. So, you know, really put a lot of pressure on the umpires to call strikes, and because they just didn't miss their spots. So that's important. People don't understand that.
Well, I tell you what I think people don't understand either is how important your job was to have those kind of guys there. But you're calling the pitches, you're working with them, you're keeping them in their same rhythm. But they go into the Hall of Fame, they don't mention you, do they?
Well, actually, there a couple people have, so they had to mention the catchers because they understood the importance of that pitcher-catcher relationship.
Adam Law scoops and fires for out number 1. Talking with Charlie O'Brien, a longtime major league catcher, and you talked about finally retiring in 2000. And I assume they had to pull the uniform off you, or did you know it was time to go?
Well, you know it's time to go. I mean, you couldn't do the things. The ball didn't come out of your hand like it used to, and your bat speed might slow down a little bit. You know, kind of, it's getting close. And it's just one of those things that you knew it was time to go and be a dad finally.
And you also played a pretty grueling position.
Well, I was fortunate. I played, actually never went on the DL till my last year.
No kidding.
So, I was just fortunate. I mean, that's so freaky. I mean, really, you think about it, I've been catching since I was, 5 years old, and to this day I have no problem with my knees or my back or anything like that. So
Terrence Gore trying to find his way on, and he does. Finds his way all the way to second base after the wild throw by Stultz. Error all the way, they're telling us. So a 2-base throwing error. And there's one out with a runner at second base.
All right, Charlie, we've been out of the game for a few years. What do you think is the biggest change that you've seen since you got out?
Probably the lack of steroids. That's the biggest change to me. It's obviously, when I played, I didn't realize what it really did, and then when you get out of it and you see it, and now you see the game, played on equal grounds. It's pretty amazing to see the difference in how the game has changed that far. And plus the umpire. Now I think the umpiring is getting better.
Ooh. There's a safe call at third base on the steal by Gore, wreaking havoc on the base pass for Northwest Arkansas.
I tell you, it wasn't because Zaraga didn't get rid of the ball and get it down on the money that time. Stolen, as most of the time, on the pitcher. Would you agree with that, of course?
All the time. And actually, another big thing is the instant replay.
Yeah.
I would have had a few more hits now, I think, if they would have had that instant replay.
Now, in your time after baseball, you became an author. You wrote a book?
Yes, it just got through. It came out in March, and it's called The Cy Young Catcher, and I actually wrote about the guys that I caught. Fortunately for me, I was able to play with a lot of guys who were very, very good pitchers, and probably some of the best pitchers of all time. You're talking about Maddox and Clemens, and so getting around those guys and actually playing with some other guys like Don Sutton and Tommy John with Oakland when I came up, and the importance of those guys and my foundation as far as the relationship and understanding how to pitch, and that's what taught me at a young age.
How different were those two guys, Maddox and Clemens?
Well, just pick your poison. It's how bad you want to be embarrassed by Clemens, or Maddox. You just take a full swing and you hit it, 3-hopper back to him. I mean, that's kind of the difference in it. But as far as control and the precision and understanding how to pitch, Maddox was in his own league, and Clemens, when you talk about him when he was on, and the game I caught in his first game back in Boston, just 15 punch outs and how dominating he was in that game, and that's in 8 innings.
Mondesi, he's safe, and another run comes in. Another errant throw by Tulsa. That's going to go as an infield single, and he remains at first base, so no error.
Yeah, that was going to be a tough play.
Game, yep.
It's tough all the way, but when people talk about the difference in AA and AAA and then getting to the big leagues, I think we're seeing a little bit of the difference. Once you get to the big leagues, these plays are made. Mm-hmm. And so, all right, tell me, Don Sutton, was he the first person that you ever saw that started throwing that little cutter? We'll just leave it at that.
Well, actually, when I first in the minor leagues came up, they had, Billy Martin was with Oakland, and they had Fowler was their pitching coach, and they were throwing spitballs, all those guys.
Yep.
And it kind of went from that to maybe a guy, getting a ball that's scuffed up by the infield or something like that every now and then. And Maddox was accused of that. And there's a lot of times that I would look at a ball after some certain pitches to see what the heck's wrong with it. And boy, I couldn't find. I don't know how he did things the way he did them, but you know, definitely in a class of his own.
Alex Liddy with another base hit. Back-to-back singles now with 2 outs.
You afraid what I'm going to ask you now, Charlie?
Yeah, I know it's probably coming.
No. I'm not going to say it. I don't go there because, you know, all of us could write that book.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I try to stay away from that as someone who's been in the game, because I want to be able to face my friends later down the road. But that's exciting when you see guys that are finding a way to get it done, even as they grow older. They just keep competing, and they're going to do whatever they can to win. And you can't blame them for that.
No, not one bit. I mean, even the steroid era, I mean, those guys, I mean, everyone was doing it, and so a lot of guys had to do it to compete. But, you know, that really makes Maddox and all the guys, Randy Johnson and Martinez and those guys, that really show how good they were, because they dominated in that kind of game that was going on. So it was very special, I think.
Action in the bullpen finally for Tulsa. Down 6-0 with a run in here in the 4th inning. Balbino Fuenmayor trying to find his way on.
But you look at all the years you played, that's just a remarkable career. I mean, they tell you when you come out of college or high school, if you can just get a couple in, then you know, you're shooting for that magic number of 10, because our pension's pretty darn good.
Yes, it's best in the country. It's just a great game. I mean, really, I never realized, you know, growing up that I'd get a chance to do it, and it's been special.
Charlie, thanks for joining us.
All right,
good luck with the
Great
book.
to see you, buddy.
All right, bud.
Thank you so much. Charlie O'Brien, the longtime big league catcher. 6-0 Northwest Arkansas in Tulsa. Six nothing here in Tulsa. The home team down, but the fans still having a great time. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Downstairs to Lauren Gardner. Lauren.
Well, guys, nowadays it's not uncommon to hear of super fans getting married at the home plate and in the stadium of their favorite team. And I think that Drillers legend Pudge Rodriguez may have started that trend back in 1991 when him and his young bride-to-be were scheduled to be married on a Thursday evening at home plate of then Drillers Stadium. Well, let's rewind to Wednesday evening before their wedding. They finished up with the rehearsal, and his young bride-to-be, Mary Bell, received a phone call at her apartment with her rented wedding dress hanging in the closet that her future husband was just called up to the Rangers. And she began crying, not because she was upset that her wedding plans were ruined, but because she was so happy that her husband-to-be was about to realize his dream of playing in the big leagues. She ran over to the stadium to congratulate him, and even though they didn't have their storybook wedding at home plate, this story does have a happy ending. The next morning, they got married at a local courthouse here in Tulsa in casual clothes before flying to Chicago to meet the Rangers for a series against the White Sox. So, Doug, how do you think your beautiful bride, Olga, would have responded to that situation?
Well, I'd say Miss Lauren probably the exact same way. One would hope, because once you get to the big leagues, a significant increase in your daily allowance.
The budget goes up a little bit.
The budget goes
on
up.
the home front. Well, and as Lauren said, no storybook wedding, but how about a storybook career?
Oh,
for
really?
Pudge? One of the greatest ever.
Yeah, maybe the best. Well, I heard Pete Rose say the other night, maybe the best defensive catcher he ever saw.
No kidding.
Said the best overall catcher was Johnny Bench,
Yeah.
but he said maybe the best defensive catcher he ever saw.
Yadier Drake will try to get things started for the Drillers, who've given up runs in back-to-back innings. A crooked number back in the 3rd. And the run in the 4th inning. Drake, another Cuban import. 4 years ago, got on a boat with 31 other passengers bound for Cancun. Wound up defecting after Yasiel Puig and Alex Guerrero for advice as he draws the leadoff walk. Worked out for Major League Scouts down in Mexico. Yankees, Tigers, and Dodgers showed the most interest, and after the workout, signed with the Dodgers. And now playing here in Tulsa. Now Lars Anderson caught looking his last time up. Drake on the move with the ball in the dirt. It looked almost, Doug, like a delayed steal, but I think he saw that ball hit the dirt.
Yeah, he did, and then when he saw it get away from the catcher a little bit, obviously very good speed. And, of course, when you're down, you have to be absolutely perfect So he reads it well and doesn't really hesitate.
And a wild pitch charge to Farrell.
You know what set that up, though, Dick, is the fact we got a good look at it on our camera right there. He took that little secondary lead that time. You know, he took a couple of crow hops off the bag. As soon as he saw it away from the catcher, he was gone.
Farrell struggled just a bit in the last inning. After plowing through the first 8 men he faced, gave up back-to-back singles before working out of the inning. 1 ball, 1 strike to Anderson. Born in Oakland, California. And playing back in the grass, to Kroger had him played perfectly. And there's 1 out. Runner moves up. So a man at third base now with less than 2 outs for Hector Oliveira.
Well, you see how far back in the grass he is, playing him as a deep pull hitter, and knows exactly how fast he can run had he measured just right.
Fairly had to move his feet. Oliveira lined to third, just a rocket shot at Dozier his last time up. We talked briefly his last time up, Doug, about watching him in batting practice, and just a real joy to watch.
Yeah, he was hitting the ball all over the place and with some authority as well, but there's another one.
Just like that.
How many times did
RBI
we see
single,
that?
and we saw it all afternoon.
Yep.
So the Drillers are on the board, 6-1. The RBI single by Hector Oliveira, bringing in Drake. Well, the bat speed, everything, just so impressive about his swing.
Yeah, he kind of has that wide stance, and he doesn't pick that lead foot up very much, just sort of raises it slightly or even twists it and then puts it back down.
Cuban connection pays off for the Drillers. And then you talked about Oliveira as being, you know, maybe the last of the great Cuban players. And by that, of course, you mean who had to really work his way over now that politics are changing and things like that. He had to go through the routine of defecting and things like that, very complicated.
And maybe last wasn't the right word, maybe the latest.
Yeah.
In the great run. I know in Cincinnati, a couple that I've got to know that are there. To hear them, how thankful they are just for the opportunity to show their craft and to get paid quite handsomely for it.
Off the mid of the leafing Fuenmayor. Sean Zaraga with a laser down the right field line. Runners at the corners now with 1 out.
Ball tattooed that time right on the button. A good chance by Balbino at first base, and he just not able to haul it in.
I have to be honest with you. When I heard about the change in policy, as you get a good look at Zaraga really turning on that ball. And he did. Balbino did get his mitt on the ball.
Fuenmayor. I love that.
I know. And now Daniel Mayra with a chance to drive in another run. But when I heard about the change in the policy regarding Cuba, that's the first thing I thought about. Ooh, more ball players. Wasn't cigars, wasn't cars. Baseball.
They've got a lot. Well, we've been seeing their national team for years when they used to come over here and play, and then a lot of guys found a way to defect. And you don't realize when they leave a lot of family behind and start their own lives over here.
Daniel Mayra out of Venezuela hammers it to the warning track. Adams now shy of the track. Tagging is Oliveira, and it's a 6-2 game, and the Drillers are fighting back. Zaraga holds at first base, 2 down now. And it's 6-2.
Well, games like this where you get behind by several runs, you don't really want to try to make it all up in one inning. You just keep nipping away, and then hopefully you have that good inning, and they're having one right now.
So now Brandon Dixon will try to keep things going. Chris Reed warming up now in the Tulsa bullpen. Farrell trying to get to the 5th inning. His last time out, he pitched 5 scoreless. Drillers have roughed him up in the last couple of innings, finally breaking through to score here in the 4th. Dixon from Murrieta, California.
Good breaking ball there.
Played his college ball at Arizona, drafted in the 3rd round 2 years ago by the Dodgers. Game-winning hit in the 2012 College World Series for the Wildcats. Dixon says he grew up a Padres fan, growing up in Escondido. Gotta wonder how tough that was for him when the Dodgers drafted him. I'm guessing he, with all due respect, forgot about the Padres pretty quickly.
You know, the Dodgers just, for years, they've had the reputation, not only having major league teams, but their reputation for developing players, especially pitchers. We got a little bit of hint today of why a lot of pitchers like to be drafted by the Dodgers or sign with them as free agents. And I think it's safe to say they don't have to Shagger and BP. We'll get to that.
We will get to that. Mondesi with another running strike from shortstop. 2 runs come in for the Drillers. Northwest Arkansas leading at 6-2 on the On Deck Minor League Game of the Week. Back in Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas with a 6-2 lead on the home team, the Drillers. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. They're taking great care of us here in Tulsa, here at the ballpark. Everybody's been fabulous, as always, as you get a good look at Chris Reed, the new pitcher for the Drillers, making his 10th appearance. 14 strikeouts in 14 innings, Doug. He needs to get that walk total down, but a chance now to come in and try to hold things steady right now for the Drillers.
Yeah, that may have something to do with his ERA being so high with all the walks. Trying to work on getting that control together. Big lefty.
Took a loss his last time out. That was back on the 4th of June against Midland. Went a couple of innings. Actually went just 2/3. They roughed him up. 4 base hits, 6 earned runs. In a 9-3 loss. Looking to bounce back. All those runs he gave up came in the 14th inning. Falling behind Zane Evans. Well, he got a good cut just out ever so slightly. Taking good care of us over at the Doubletree as well. Marie this morning.
Is he awesome?
Just fantastic. Basically turned over a corner of the dining room to us so we could have our production meeting. Big hop in fair territory for Oliveira. Nice play.
Boy, you want to say he handled that like a veteran, then you realize that, well, he really is. He's 30 years of age. Hasn't really had a lot of playing time over here. Did his rehab out in Arizona, and then just came back last Thursday. Over at third base, shows a good, strong arm while throwing on the run.
You know, with that big high hop, you thought it might be a closer play at the bag. Hunter Dozier doubled his last time up. Hit a flare in the left. Knocked in a couple of runs.
Yeah, he diving play out in left field that Rathjen wasn't able to get to. Knocked in 3. Maybe had some sun issues out there.
Yep, cleared the bases.
You know, last year we saw Cuban player Guerrero playing for the Dodgers and went to the big leagues this year and was smoking it.
You know, people forget as well that the gentleman who developed his skills at the minor league level and it paid off for the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda.
You know, these guys, when I look how many years they've been down here in the minor leagues, I think back to someone like a Maury Wills in the Dodger organization. 8 years in the minors before he made it to the big leagues.
Dozier gives it a ride to center field. Levine tracks it, and there are 2 outs. You were talking earlier with Razor about your former teammate about fundamentals, and he talked about how the Dodgers had Maury Wills come to Tulsa and teach base running, teach stealing bases.
Well, he was really good. I mean, not only had speed and quickness, but he was a student of watching pitchers and getting good jumps. A lot of guys think because they're fast that they're going to be good base stealers. Not necessarily true. And Billy Hamilton, the youngster with the Reds, proved that when he came to the big leagues. had 150 during the season, which set a minor league record, got to the big leagues, got thrown out close to 30 times. So you also have to remember that these pitchers are getting better with slide steps and going to the plate. Catchers are strong, have some good arms now, so it's got to be a technique.
Mike Bianucci looking for his first base hit. You got a good look at Peter Levine tracking that fly ball, and the wind may have held that up for him. That is straight up behind the plate, and Zaraga draws a beat at it. That's the second grab he's made tonight. And the Drillers are out of the inning. Nothing across for Northwest Arkansas. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. 6-2 Naturals. It's the On Deck Minor League Game of the Week. Great night to spread out a blanket, take in the action here at One Oak Stadium, where Tulsa trails Northwest Arkansas 6-2. Take a look at the MILB.com news around the league. This is a great story. Carlos Correa made his major league debut in Chicago Monday night. And unexpected cheering section, the Class A Quad Cities River Bandits, for whom Correa starred in 2013. They were on their way home from a game in South Bend, and they stopped to cheer on their buddy in Chicago. Not a bad story there.
That's an awesome story. I mean, can you imagine that? Did they have any trouble getting tickets?
I would think not. As Jeremy Rathjen leads things off. Here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Rathjen, a base hit his last time up. Boy, how about the Biloxi Shuckers? A 54-game road trip finally moved into their new park, MGM Park in Biloxi on Saturday night. Christened their ballpark in style. Walk-off win in the 14th inning. And by the way, despite that road schedule, they have the best record in the Southern League. Boy, Rathjen squared it up, but right at Alex Liddy, and there's one out.
A couple of balls they've hit pretty decent have been right at guys that showed a little fire last inning when they got a couple, but you're right, Dick. He just waited on that pitch, hit it right on the button, but the guy's been playing out there a long time.
Now Adam Law, top of the order, single to right his last time up. That was in the third inning when the Drillers registered back-to-back base hits, couldn't do anything with it. You know, last week we were in Nashville, had a wonderful time, but the only disappointment was we didn't get to see the switch pitcher. That's Pat Venditti. He was called up by the Oakland Athletics right after we left, made his debut at Fenway Park. Joins Greg A. Harris as the only switch pitcher in modern day Major League history. There you see it.
Yep.
And you look at that glove, that's the 6-finger glove. So if he needs to change, just pops the glove from one hand to the other. Good luck to him in Oakland, moving up from Nashville.
Well, that arm angle's pretty much the same place on both sides.
It's amazing. On an 0-2 pitch, Law gets his bat on it to Kroger with an easy play, 2 down. Don't forget, get online and vote. AAA Baseball again allowing fans to send their favorite players to the All-Star Game. 28th annual contest at Werner Park in Omaha, Nebraska, July 15th. That's a great facility, by the way. We were there last year. You can vote from the 29th to June 26th, actually. MILB.com or any of the 30 AAA team websites. You can go through your mobile device, tablet, or through the MILB First Pitch app. Peter Levine stands in. Get the latest news, stats, scores, schedules, and video highlights from every minor league team at MILB.com, the official website of minor league baseball.
Boy, thank goodness for social media now. You know, I never thought I'd be the one to say that, but any team or any player you want to keep up with, you can pretty much watch them. Just pull it up on MILB.com and watch your favorite players mature and grow to the big leagues.
That's going to stay in the infield, and DeKroger makes the call and squeezes for out number 3. So a good inning defensively for Northwest Arkansas. The Naturals lead it by 4 here in Tulsa. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Back in Tulsa, Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Northwest Arkansas with a lead on the Drillers, 6-2. We're joined now by the Drillers president, and General Manager Mike Malega. First of all, thank you for the hospitality. Your people are fantastic.
It's a pleasure having you guys here. Are you kidding me? I wish we could do this once a year at least.
Well, I tell you what, we were really looking forward to seeing this ballpark, and you guys have been in. This is your 6th year, and it's you got to be delighted with it.
Oh, you know, when you open up a new ballpark, you know it's going to be wonderful for the community, and then the stress comes in of, can we extend this thing? How long can we extend this honeymoon? And it's been great. Last year was really our best season ever, our 5th season, and this year we're off to a great start as well. We just love being downtown.
Kenny DeKroger leading things off for Northwest Arkansas here in the 6th.
Yeah, 22 years with the Drillers now. You kind of started, I wouldn't say the bottom, but you started kind of down the ladder a little bit. Now worked your way up to the top.
You know, like so many people in our industry, you know, you start as an intern, you pay those dues, you work hard, and you earn your stripes. You know, and that's what I've done, and along with my assistant GM Jason George and most of the guys on our staff. That's how we do it.
Well, you can be very proud too, because the folks here have just treated us absolutely better than we deserve. But I mean, what a first-class operation you have.
That's great to hear.
Obvious question I've got to ask is, how much has minor league baseball changed since you began as a callow intern?
Oh my goodness! I mean, you just can't even really put it into words. I mean, the facilities around baseball have really changed the game. I mean, it's so fan friendly now. I think when I first got into it, ballparks were built to watch baseball games exclusively, and now they're here to provide family entertainment, even if you're a casual fan.
Terrence Gore standing in, and the Drillers expecting a bunt, of course. Hector Oliveira crashing from third base, well in on the grass, and Gore has been a real thorn in the side of your Drillers tonight, Coach.
Yeah, these Northwest Arkansas Naturals are pretty good this year. They've really, you know, they've run away with this first half, but we're trying to give them a run for their money.
You know, one of the things we were delighted to learn is that Tulsa is a terrific baseball town, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. You know, there's been professional baseball in this community since before Oklahoma was a state, and that gives you a little bit of an idea of how long the roots of baseball go in this market. It's been a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan for years and years and years, and professional baseball at the AAA level and now the AA level since 1977. It's been a mainstay.
I tell you, I played here in AAA in 1974. We did not play anything this nice.
No doubt. You played at Old Oiler Park, I think.
Old Oiler Park, and this is absolutely beautiful. And what this is 6th year, I guess, now with this?
Yeah, 6 years. I mean, just look out this window. This view of downtown, it's a source of pride for our community. I think Tulsans and folks from Northeast Oklahoma, they come out here and they're proud of the place that they grow up and they live and they raise their kids when they come to this park.
Well, that was my next question, because that has been such a popular angle, literally, for new ballparks across the country, is to include that vista, the downtown, which really gives it a feel of being a part of the city, doesn't it?
No doubt. And when these ballparks, when they're done right and they're a part of a bigger picture, you know, one ballpark is not going to turn the whole thing over and make it great. It's a big vision, and when you do it right, it has the opportunity to really reinvigorate your downtown.
Oliveira kind of eating up with a bad hop, or a hop he couldn't handle. And so now runners at the corners with one out. What do you enjoy the most? Every ballpark is unique. So what do you enjoy the most about this one?
You know, what I love about it the most is that there's so many different vantage points for fans to watch the game. I love, like the first couple of years, I would just bounce around to different spots to watch the game. The old stadiums, you can only go in between the foul poles. You couldn't get into the outfield. So here you got high perches down the left field corner. You got that terrace area, which gives a completely lower view to the field. I think our fans come out and they buy tickets in different areas every time.
And there is a concerted effort on the minor league level that we've noticed everywhere we've gone, and really the major leagues are beginning to do it as well, to think family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no question. I mean, you can see right out in center field, playground was a key element when we built the ballpark. You can't see it from here, but back behind our hitter's background there, we have a splash pad. There's a big water feature out there, and before the game gets going, that place is packed with kids in bathing suits running around having a great time. When my family comes to the game, I got a 9 and a 10-year-old, they don't even make it to the seats till after the stretch. You know what I mean? Seriously, they go around the park and play.
I don't blame them, especially on a night like tonight. 2 balls, no strikes to Raul Mondesi. Northwest trying to threaten again, runners at the corners. You guys have quite a little rivalry going with this team.
Well, they're only an hour and a half away, so it's nice for our fans. We can go over there and check them out. The Northwest Club used to be in Wichita, And we faced them in the Texas League Championship a couple of years in a row, and that really kind of fostered a great rivalry. A lot of Royals fans in this market as well.
It's another organization that really likes to build from the ground up, like the Dodgers. Now you're part of the Dodger organization,
which has been fantastic. You know, it's just a huge, huge, iconic brand, and it's a first-class organization. So it's been a blast, you know, kind of getting to know those guys and be a part of that awesome organization.
Well, we had a chance to spend a little time with Razor Shines down there today, who was a teammate of mine back several years ago, and he's basically dedicated his life, and he told me, he said, I absolutely love this city, and my job is to do what I can to develop these kids, and not just on his team, but the kids in the community as well.
No doubt. Razor is just absolutely the most straightforward, you know, honest, sincere guy. He loves this game. He loves his players. He loves those kids. He's going to go to bat for them whenever he can, and he's going to do what he can to help them get to the big leagues. But he's also a community man. You know, he's loved in Indianapolis, where he played many years. And, you know, we were excited.
Oops. On the wild pitch, another run comes in, and it's a 7-2 game.
We were excited to get Razor to Tulsa because we knew what an impact he had in Indianapolis in the community, and he certainly has been that way in the first few months.
Zaraga never had a chance to pull that in. So now runner at second and one out with a run in and a 5-run lead again. Here's a good look at the skipper in the Tulsa dugout, and there is a statue of him in Indianapolis, and you know he still hasn't seen it. He said, you know, my job is to help get these kids to the major leagues. You know, he kind of said, I'll get there someday. But, you know, to make a trip just there, he didn't want to sort of, you know, make people think, well, I'm here, you know, everybody fall all over me.
Well, one of the things I heard, here we go.
Alex Liddy, hard hit ball, but right into the mitt of Adam Law. And that's an easy double play. More questions, so stay put. But a run in, 7-2 lead for Northwest Arkansas over the Tulsa Drillers. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Seven to 2 Northwest Arkansas with a 5-run lead over Tulsa here at One Oak. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner. Next week on the On Deck Minor League Baseball National Game of the Week, we visit Kodak, Tennessee. On the outskirts of Knoxville, the Tennessee Smokies playing host to the Mississippi Braves. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Kyle Schwarber, the big bat, leads the Smokies. They're pushing for a first-half division title in the Southern League's North Division. Schwarber's Chris Bryant-like numbers at the plate had the Cubs' number 4 prospect on the fast track to Chicago. Braves led by speedy center fielder and leadoff man Malik Smith. Padres picked him up in the Justin Upton trade last winter. Smith led all of professional baseball with 88 stolen bases in 2014, already with 19 steals this year. It's the Mississippi Braves and the Tennessee Smokies next Thursday on the CBS Sports Network. Mike, I've got to ask you, too, about this ballpark. Oh, no, actually, you were telling me a story about Razor.
Yeah, Razor, amazing. I mean, what you could... A true test, I think, a testament to him is that he came back as an opposing manager into Indianapolis, and they held a Razor Shines night and celebrated his return, even though he was wearing the wrong uniform. So that tells you how much those people loved him there, you know? That's amazing.
He's been loved everywhere he's been. You know, getting a good chance to look at Farrell so far. In the 5th inning, Farrell only threw 9 pitches, only has 77 overall for this game. And he's been doing a good job of keeping the hitters off balance so far. It's great to watch the maturity of some of these kids as they're starting to figure it all out.
No doubt about it. This is a tremendous league. It's just amazing. It's a who's who every year of Texas leaguers moving on to the big leagues and becoming Major League All-Stars.
Now, you guys have sent several up to the big leagues. Seager's gone, or he's moved up the ladder a little bit. Yeah. A really good player.
Yep, absolutely. Seager, he'll be up in the big leagues before long, being probably our first superstar former driller that's playing for the Dodgers. You know, we've got a lot of guys. We've been with the Rockies the past 12 years, and prior to that with the Rangers, and we're excited to see these drillers move on to L.A.
Lars Anderson looking for his first base hit tonight as the Drillers trail by 5. We're talking to Mike Malega, president and general manager of the AA affiliate of the LA Dodgers, the Tulsa Drillers. And as you mentioned, formerly AAA city, now AA. You've won 3 Texas League championships in your history. And you mentioned how long you've had baseball here, and the Texas League is just loaded with tradition, isn't it?
It is. It's historic. And you know what's great about this league for folks that aren't aware of it is just the continuity. The owners and the operators in our league are unbelievable. They all work together so well to make this league as good as it can possibly be. And our league president, Tom Kaiser, has been in the league for over 20 years as well. So there's a tremendous continuity in the front offices, in the ownership level, in the league office.
People always wonder about a guy like you. You've soaked up so much knowledge, and I know players want to try to move along, but you love it here in Tulsa. You got a family here, and you're part of the community.
No doubt about it. You know, people always ask, especially young in the earlier years of your career, and they ask all of our guys, you know, so do you want to be in the big leagues? You want to work for a big league club? And, you know, when you work in minor league baseball, I think you realize how wonderful it is to be a part of a community and to have an impact on every aspect of the game.
You are literally hands-on.
It's wonderful, yeah, and that's what we love about it. I wouldn't want to get departmentalized, if you will, you know.
And people probably, I know Doug and I both live in Lexington, Kentucky. There's a Class A team there, and people still ask me about, you know, are they going to have open tryouts? Why don't they sign some of these kids from around here? Doesn't work that way. Do you have to explain that to people?
Oh, my goodness, yes, all the time, no question. There's a ton of emails that they find the general manager, and they think the GM at a minor league level is like the GM at the big league level.
You're not?
The job description is totally different. Believe me, that's a better way for me, because if we're good, I can take credit, but if we're bad, I can pass the buck.
Oliveira beats it out, infield single, and the Drillers alive with 2 out.
Well, we saw a really good play that time at shortstop by Mondesi, and we saw a first baseman that tried to steal one for his shortstop that time. But also got a good chance to look at the speed at Oliveira.
Mike, tell me a little bit about motivating your employees, or how much do you have to? Because if you work in this business, you know, especially starting the way you did, you know, out of opening day, you're not going to get rich, but you're going to love it. I'm wondering, you know, I'm guessing you don't have to spend much time lighting fires under people.
No, I mean, it's a unique business to work in. I mean, it really is. I mean, what other businesses other than sports can you wake up the next day and read about, you know, your team in the newspaper and how they did, or you know, or they didn't. When you're a kid, you look in the newspaper and you follow your favorite team, and now you get to do it for the place that you work. So, I mean, it's hard to keep people, you know, from being motivated to come work here every day and look at this view that we're looking at.
Well, you've been drawing a lot of people here. You look around tonight, a great crowd tonight again, and I tell you, it's just it's fun to come to the ballpark, and you know, we're very fortunate. That's what we try to bring to the broadcast, is get people back into the parks. You want to go see a pure form of baseball and see some up-and-coming young talent.
Hungry kids.
You bet.
And not everybody signed a $60 million contract.
No doubt.
Zaraga sends one to center field. Gore tracking, and that's out number 3. Mike, thank you so much for the hospitality.
Thank you, guys.
Great job.
Again, welcome
Appreciate
to Tulsa.
it.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much. 7-2, Northwest Arkansas with a 5-run lead over Tulsa. Back in a minute. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Seven to 2, Northwest Arkansas with a lead. A hotly contested baseball game, and a little more competition down on the sidelines here between innings. Kind of hoping Lauren would jump in the middle of one of those things, but boom! Oh man, that's full contact right there. Crowd was loving it.
Can you imagine those toys when we were growing up, have something like that?
Oh my gosh,
that would be so fun.
Who says we can't do it now?
Me. I'm afraid what would be broken after I get pounded like that.
Thanks again to Mike Malega. Boy, what a job they did putting this ballpark together. And you can tell how delighted they are to be a part of the Dodger organization. Jacob Rame, the new pitcher, on for Chris Reed, making his 14th appearance, 24 strikeouts in just 19 2/3. 13 hits, 10 walks, 3.20 ERA, a couple of saves. And you know, Doug, an interesting approach to this Dodger organization. You were talking about pitchers don't have to shag and things like that. We'll talk about that a little bit more. We haven't had a chance to come back to that, but
let's come back to that. I think that's
down, but easy. One of the approaches, though, that the Dodgers take with their bullpen, and unless the Drillers rally, we won't see that situation tonight. But there is no closer. There is no designated closer on minor league ball clubs for Dodgers farmhands because they want to help young relief pitchers develop up and down their organization. So they kind of share the duties. Everybody gets a chance to be a middle relief guy or a closer or a setup guy. So you won't see somebody with, 10 or 12 saves. You'll see them scattered up and down the roster, and that's an interesting approach.
It really is, but who can argue with the approach that they've taken over the years because of the successes that they've had, especially with their pitchers. So, you never know what you're going to be when you start this game. I mean, now there's so many positions that they have really designated, and you have the starter and your closer, obviously. Then you got your short reliever, your long reliever, your setup man. So why not let them see? If you can pitch, they're going to find a place for you.
Zane Evans looking for his first base hit tonight. 0 for 3 on the evening. Now let's get back to this shagging. You heard about this earlier in the day. That's one of the reasons, one of the ways the Dodgers try to attract free agent pitchers. And it sounds like a minor thing, but is that a big deal?
Well, yeah, it's a big deal, man. Nice ground ball hit to third base.
Off the fists. Rivera with an easy throw, 2 down.
We're watching them take batting practice today. As we look out in the outfield, we see Razor Shines out there with a fungo hitting balls back in. We see a couple of kids in street clothes, and the coach is shagging. We notice there's no pitchers. And we were alerted to the fact that in the Dodger organization, even in spring training, pitchers do not shag.
Now, by shag, he means
go
get batting practice. Right. Yeah, batting practice. You catch fly balls, you pick up ground balls or whatever. As Hunter Dozier delivers the easy fly ball.
We must not be supposed to talk about that because this inning went way too
All right,
quick.
Hold that thought. I know you will. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. That'll do it for the Naturals. Coming up on the bottom of the 7th, 7-2 Northwest Arkansas. The On Deck Minor League Game of the Week. Back in Tulsa, where Northwest Arkansas has a 5-run lead. Dick Gabriel, an incensed Doug Flynn, who thinks it's un-American that the Dodger pitchers and up and down the organization don't have to shag fly balls. Lauren Gardner wants to weigh in on this. Lauren, where do you come down on this? Your fiance is a professional pitcher.
Oh, I think I'm going to plead the fifth. I'll tell you what, he does love BP, though. He likes to go out and hang out with his buddies and make some heroic diving plays that, don't really count, but he sure does enjoy showing off. And, that's just part of the culture here within this farm system. And speaking with pitching coach Matt Herges, he said, we also have sleeping pods for some of our pitchers that can go upstairs. I know, Doug, you may not agree with this, but they want them to be well rested. They really care about their well-being. In addition to that, and this is something I really agree with and I think is important, especially at this level, is the nutrition factor. They actually have $1,000 budget per day to bring in organic foods, and they provide lunch and dinner. So they don't get a whole lot in terms of per diem and meal money. So that's big, and that's something that doesn't happen with every organization.
Now, is that money just for pitchers?
Yes, only for pitchers.
No
one else.
No, I'd hate
no, it's for the whole team.
Now that I would be upset if I were an everyday player. But yeah, they want the organic food, and they want to keep them away from fast food's good once in a while, but if you recall in the minor leagues, man, you had to look for the nearest buffet.
I know, but part of your perk was getting to the big leagues when you could eat a little bit better, so it kind of drove you. When they get to the big leagues, it's going to be a downer for them.
Oh, come on.
Let me tell you something.
They'll be disappointed. Look,
I hope the food part, I agree with you.
Razor Shines told you today that even guys who have never been in the majors will actually shed a tear when he can pull them in and say, son, you're going to the show.
I agree. Now, I won't get on the food issue as much as I will knowing that I'm out there and it's 1,000 degrees and you're busting your rear end and you walk upstairs maybe to go to the bathroom or something and the guy's asleep. Might have issue with that.
Oh, my gosh. Daniel Mayora out on strikes, out number 1 here in the 7th inning. That I can understand. Because if the position players can get enough rest, theoretically, when they're supposed to, but
you know what?
Again, like you say, it's hard to argue with success.
But let me tell you this: in the minor leagues or the big leagues, I'd have been scared to death to go someplace and take a nap for fear of what one of my teammates may have done with me.
Miguel Almonte is warming up in the Northwest Arkansas bullpen. Brandon Dixon with a lazy fly ball on a lazy summer evening. Gore hauls it in, 2 down.
Well, you talking about getting in a rhythm right now. Farrell looks like he is in some kind of rhythm and throwing every pitch pretty much where he wants to, whether it be the fastball or the breaking ball.
Well, he was at 90 pitches through 6 innings. And he's thrown 4 here in the 7th. We mentioned last time out 5 shutout innings, so he's put together impressive back-to-back performances. Big cut by Jeremy Ratch, and he really tried to unload last time up and lined out the left field. He's 1 for 2, infield single. Drafted out of Rice University, he was an Owl.
Well, he's come back with 2 consecutive pitches almost in the exact same spot. You know, getting back a little bit to Razor and both managers, as a matter of fact, their communication skills are so good and they care about their players so much. You only wish that maybe they'd have had, or you would have had that when I played. If you're going to release somebody or send them down or have to work on them with the way they're playing, there's a good way to do that, and both of these guys do an excellent job of it.
Well, their players both in both dugouts know how much these guys literally care about them.
You're right.
And care about their careers because they work so hard at their respective careers.
And I've always said that the coaching staff on any ball club in pro ball is the most underappreciated group of people that you ever see. First one's at the park, last one to leave, tirelessly throwing batting practice, taking care of personal problems, cleaning up everything. So my hat's off to all the coaching staff.
We have run into so many coaches and managers in our minor league travels, you, me, and Lauren, who have been minor league lifers themselves, who may have had a cup of coffee as players, maybe even as coaches in the major leagues, and get the first class travel and the 5-star hotels and all that. But then the club asked them, hey, I need you to go to the AA city, which is probably a wonderful place to live, but you don't get the perks that come from coaching and managing in the major leagues. And they do it. They do it happily because they love the game.
And they like making a difference in other people's lives.
And that's
too.
what that man right there does.
Yep.
As does his counterpart on the other side of the diamond.
You betcha. Big
Full
raise.
count. The Jeremy Ratchin. And a strikeout again for Farrell. He's rolling through 7. It's a 7-2 lead for the Naturals over the Drillers here in the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. (7-2) Northwest Arkansas. The lead here in Tulsa. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Now down to Lauren Gardner for one of our favorite parts of our broadcast each and every week. There it is.
Oh yeah,
What
you
do you
guys are
got?
looking at Frank's dogs. Let's be real, this is like my favorite part of all of these broadcasts. I just want to eat the food here. And this isn't Frank, this is actually Cody Malone. He's a former executive chef and director of food and beverage here at One Oak Park. Before I dive into these things, tell me what is going on with these hot dogs.
These are all of our Frank's concepts. They're all made with 100% all beef Nathan's hot dogs and artisan bread. And we really proud of these. We do a different menu every homestand. This is our top 4 sellers so far this year. This first one we have is the firecracker dog. It's the Nathan's all,
that looks delicious.
The Nathan's all beef hot dog. It's a spicy shredded chicken. It's got a chipotle mayo. It's got a jalapeno puree and shredded pepper jack cheese.
Oh.
You almost need a blueprint for these things.
Definitely, we have some great chefs here on staff. Our second one here is the porker dog, once again with the all beef hot dog.
Wait, who are you calling a porker dog?
Oh, come on now. We do all of our barbecue in-house. This pork is smoked here at One Oak Field. We run it 24 hours a day, so it's handcrafted with coleslaw and barbecue sauce. Our next one is this year's bread, new this year to One Oak Field. It's called the Oink Cluck Moo. It is a Nathan's all beef hot dog.
Sounds like a children's book.
Exactly. Nathan's all beef hot dog, a chicken tender, bacon, cheese sauce, and barbecue sauce. And it's been just selling like hotcakes this year.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna have to bite into this one soon. Okay.
Our last one here is, it's kind of a traditional, it is a Frito chili pie dog. I mean, who doesn't like Frito chili pie? Hot dogs, baseball, put it together.
OG, you gotta keep it real.
Definitely, that's definitely an old school right there.
So which one should I try?
If it was me, right now, let's go with the porker.
Again, dude.
Yeah, hold it.
Okay, yeah, hold this. All right,
Yeah.
hold on. Oh man, this is
so jealous
Tense.
right now. Oh, picking in. Come on. Look at this.
Dang.
Look at this. That's a pro.
I went for it. I'll
Atta
root for
girl.
it some.
That's
It's amazing.
my
Wow.
hero.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Well, I want to report on all 4 of them, though, by the end of the game. You don't have to finish them, but I want to report on all 4.
After I try a bite of each one.
Atta girl.
Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
I can keep these, right?
They're all yours.
There's a woman that hates her job right there. Isn't it? My goodness.
Life is rough.
Wow. That is worth the trip to Tulsa. And he said they have a different menu every homestand.
Yeah.
How much fun is that?
I don't know, but that sure made me hungry.
Wow.
You know, when Lauren wasn't here, had to miss one, we got to eat up here on camera. Now she's kind of taking all our food.
It's rightfully ours, but she earned the right.
I forgot she's not my waiter.
That's true. Kenny DeKroger with a 2-hit night happening, including a home run.
They hit that ball good. They put some pretty good at-bats on. Rain's come in and done a good job, though, right now.
3rd pitcher of the night for Tulsa. He has helped quiet the bats of these Naturals. We'll be up in Northwest Arkansas before long to check out their home park. And a base on balls to DeKroger.
Oh, he rang him up.
Oh, he sure did.
Yeah, I think.
Kenny on his way to first and now on his way to the dugout.
Yeah, we take a good look here, and I don't know if he's thinking it's down maybe, and it's kind of borderline. Boy, just a great angle there. You
Got
can see
the
it come.
front knee. Did
Sure
you
did.
see that?
Excellent work, guys, and that's just a pitch with 2 strikes you can't afford to take.
Yep. So now 5 straight retired by Rame. Bases clear. Terrence Gore as Hector Oliveira cheating in from 3rd inside the edge of the grass. And well off the bag at first base on the edge is Lars Anderson. Here's a look at the defensive alignment, and boy, a guy like Gore just makes you really play on the balls of your feet, doesn't he?
Yeah, they do, and you see how shallow they're playing in right field and center field, playing a little bit deeper in left, realizing that if he did turn on one, that he could probably hit it a little bit further that way, infield straight up. So just a good look at the defense, and a little guy that's pesky at the plate.
But enough pop in his bat to drive it past the outfielders who are drawn in, and if he can do that, he can run for days. A couple of stolen bases tonight. He scored 2 runs, bottom of the order, getting it done. But Rame rings him up, back-to-back strikeouts, and a good inning for the Drillers. We go on to the bottom of the 8th, 7-2 Northwest Arkansas. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week. Seven to 2, the Naturals over the Drillers. You can see how things unfolded with a 5 spot in the 3rd inning. And a run in the 4th, a couple for the Drillers in the bottom of the 4th. They did not put up 9 spots in the 5th inning. Boy, how interesting would that be? DeKroger with a home run. Dozier with a 3-run double in the 3rd inning. Cleaned things off. Oliveira got a good game going. And a new pitcher for Northwest Arkansas. Ali Williams is the new right arm. Oh, and our girl has delivered for us. There are the numbers. We're going to be a little busy here for just a moment, but 17 innings, 15 strikeouts, 14 walks, making his 15th appearance. You see the 3 saves and a 1-0 record, but what's even more important is, thank you so much, Red, for
I had to share the wealth.
Oh my goodness.
This one, the firecracker.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There's
OMG, as they say.
2 or 3
say.
big bites out of these. So
This-
did you really enjoy them?
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's still just as good.
Oh
This
my
jalapeno puree, I would put that on cotton candy. It's delicious. Put that on anything. Put that on
Adderall
a
leaves
trash
things
bag and
off.
enjoy it.
You know, we were talking about the fact that he told you that they have a different menu at every homestand. That's
Yeah.
got to be so much fun.
He's
for
a
those
genius. He's a mastermind.
There you
Goodness,
go.
he's using his intelligence for good.
guys. Not evil. And a former executive chef having fun at the ballpark. How about that?
I
She's got her
mean-
mouth full. I can
I know.
tell that.
Sorry,
That's
guys.
great.
What was this one right here, Lauren? Do you remember?
That one is the Frito pie. Thank you.
Wow. Come on,
Our
give it a
producer
shot.
just made a noise in my ear. I think he wants some of that, so don't eat all of it.
Can I have a bite of it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not your waiter. I just came over here to let you guys have a bite.
You're a good teammate is what you are.
Oh, my goodness.
How
Right?
good is that?
These aren't your grandma's hot dogs. And you know what makes the
No.
difference is the bread. It's that artisan bread.
Is that right?
This
It's
is
nice
so
and
good.
Pulling
chewy.
off
It
a
doesn't
piece of
fall
this chicken
apart.
there.
And you're going to get that jalapeno puree in there,
Man.
right?
Isn't it good?
Oh, that's
Oh, my
outstanding.
goodness.
We're going to have to save some for the rest of the crew.
I beg your pardon?
You know, Cody also told me about this Euro hot dog that they have. I think some places they call it a gyro. I don't know if they appreciate
So
that
gyro.
pronunciation in
You
Greece.
got it right the first time, though. You got it right the first
And they
time.
have
Euro.
Euro meat on top of a hot dog with tzatziki sauce.
Did you all ever decide if it was route or route?
It's Route 66.
I agree.
Right here.
You don't get your
In
kicks on
Oklahoma.
Route 66.
No, that's right.
I watched the TV show.
And we know the song. Adam Law trying to find his way on, but a good stop down
Nice
at third
play.
base by Dozier.
Excellent play there at third. Good strong throw to first base, too. You watch him, good defensive position, gets that foot down. Plenty of time, comes up with a good strong throw to first. Excellent.
Second time he's taken a base hit away from Tulsa. And there's one out. He robbed Oliveira of probably a double.
Yeah.
I hope you're keeping a journal, LG, of all the different foods you've tasted across the country.
I need to start a blog.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
It's
you should.
unbelievable.
You really should start a
We've
blog.
come across a lot of great cuisine.
Well, and that's what's great about these ballparks is you see Peter Levine looking for his first base hit. Is, you know, they take so much pride in making it a family-friendly atmosphere, but they also take pride in just coming up with something unique, and usually it's the food. And boy, a guy used to be executive chef. My brother is an executive chef. I mean, those people know their stuff.
That's culinary excellence.
There you go.
And the amazing part is each ballpark you go has its own signature food. It's not like they're all recooking the same thing over and over.
That's right.
Oh yeah, always remember Memphis and those barbecue nachos,
Oh,
and they
man.
use that
Oh, right.
rendezvous.
Rendezvous, yeah.
Those ribs.
Little lobster
and,
rolls in Pawtucket. The beer milkshake in Charleston. Now, you didn't try that.
I didn't try that. The Babe. How
That
about the
was
Babe?
Omaha.
And
Was that Omaha?
I think it was Corpus Christi.
Corpus?
It was like a cheddar bratwurst wrapped in
About
about
as
half
big
a
as your
pound of
head.
hamburger,
Yeah.
and then it was sealed with bacon.
Oh, man. See, folks, you need to get out to the minor league ballpark.
That's
I think I
right.
have a clogged artery after that one.
But you know what else is good with a ballpark or with a ball game in front of it is a bag of peanuts.
Oh yeah, you just got to keep it simple.
Just, yeah.
Going
sometimes.
traditional.
Well, there was a nasty shot that time taken by Evans off of the leg on a ball that was down, and a breaking ball missed all of his equipment, got some flesh.
Levine hammers it into the Tulsa night, but well foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
All right, boys, I'll let you enjoy.
Oh,
Use responsibly.
I'm so afraid not.
you know, you need to take one of these to our crew. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
All right, don't
All
take
right.
Are we
that one.
talking camera crew on the field, or are we talking in the truck?
Absolutely.
I'm thinking in the truck.
All right. They work
What
harder
did the
than
truck,
any of us.
truck guys, you agree with her? They agree.
I'm hearing an absolutely. The voices in my head are saying they want 6 more.
I didn't hear that.
Can I have another
Might
bite of
not
this
be
one before you
producer.
go?
Or surely the voices in your head.
All right, guys in the truck, you may
Hey,
be
one
losing
of
out
them
on
may
that
have-
Frito pie.
One of them may have Doug Flynn cooties on it.
It's going to be gone in a second. What about this one?
Which ones are you willing to relinquish?
This one?
Okay,
Which one is that?
that's the
That the
shred,
porker?
the oinker.
Oh, the
poink-
oinker. Yeah, that's a good name for
The
it.
poinker, porker and oinker in one.
Levine has run it to 3-2. Warren's going to try to juggle her way to the truck. That's a foul ball. And oh,
Boy, Evans took another
Evans,
shot.
He's having a rough time. All right, guys in the truck. She's on her way. But you're going to have to share.
It was a good look right here. And Evans, who just took one a few minutes. Ow. That time gets it maybe on the toe, the end, or maybe a little higher than that. The other one got him on the inside part of the leg.
Mondesi, another running throw, and again accurate. 2 out.
He's getting a lot of work with that play, and we just see the joy in that. When the guy's making plays like that, it doesn't look like work, looks like it is fun. Of course, he's been around the game a long time after watching his dad play.
You were talking about Zane Evans and the bruises he's going to have tonight. Now, you played 3 sports in high school. You played 2 in college. But were you ever a catcher? Hammered by Drake. Drops for the base hit.
Not in a game. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I used to warm up my first 2 years in the big leagues. Since you didn't carry as many catchers, they would send me down to the bullpen and I would warm up pitchers prior to the game. And if you happened to win, that pitcher won the game, or your team won, then I'd have to go down and warm up because, you know, we're superstitious.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a couple of pretty good winning streaks going back in 75 and 76. And I almost got into a game one time, but they put Joel Youngblood in there to catch. Johnny Bench started the game, came out after a 9-0 lead. Bill Plummer went in, got called out on 3rd strike, argued with the umpire. They kicked him out, and they said, who can catch? So they said, Doug will catch. So I put the shin guards on backwards, and they went, maybe you better not.
Good move. Well, speaking of being pressed into service, Lars Anderson earlier this year was called into service to pitch in a 17-inning game. Drillers ran out of pitchers, so Anderson pitched the 16th and the 17th and got the win. He had not pitched since high school, and they tell me he topped that at 71 miles an hour. And that wasn't the only time he pitched this year. They needed him in a 14-inning game and pitched the last, what, 2/3 last inning. And they didn't win the game. I don't think he took the loss, though, did he? No. But still, he's been called twice to pitch. Yeah.
That's why you love the minor league. Of course, you see it a few times in the big leagues as well. But, you know, Williams got a good arm. We just, last fastball, 95 miles an hour. So, you know, here's a kid that's coming in and throwing the ball pretty darn good.
But Anderson hammers it the other way. Into the corner it goes. On the move is Drake. They're going to send him. And he'll score easily on the double by Anderson. And it's a 7-3 game. Drillers fans have not left the ballpark.
Really good job of hitting there. Didn't try to pull that ball. Got a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Stayed back. Served it out to left field, down the left field line. A nice job. You see, he doesn't try to pull it. Hit it where it was pitched. A great at bat that time.
Ollie Williams gets a mound visit. Resides in Sumter, South Carolina. Was a 34th round draft pick back in 2011 and got off to a great start here in the 8th inning. Retired the first 2 men he faced, but now he's given up back-to-back hits. So Jim Brower, the pitching coach, now in his 3rd straight year as pitching coach in Northwest Arkansas, 5th year in the Royals organization. Jim was drafted by the Rangers out of University of Minnesota back in 1994.
You know, he and
8 major league teams.
Excuse me, Dick. He and Vance and Brandon Moore, all of them about the same age. They all played ball, you know, early in their careers together, and now they're all coaching together. And Vance says it's just been a joy having those guys around him because they all think alike. They all came up at the same time. You know, it's got to be real comfortable coming to the ballpark.
Hector Oliveira trying to keep the inning alive. 2 for 3 tonight, a .333 average. RBI single in the 4th, base hit back in the 6th. A little over anxious on that swing.
Nasty pitch right there. See, the ball just kept moving, kept moving.
Well, he had made his mind up to swing, Doug, it looked like, before the ball left his hand.
And then he got a good slider.
Good depending on which end of it you're on. Here's the 0-2. Put it out over the plate. But Alex Liddy on the run. Not a bad sliding grab by the Italian. But a run comes home for Tulsa. Lead down to 4 as we go to the 9th. 7-3 Naturals on the On Deck minor league game of the week. Drillers fans just stuck around. Their team hanging in there, down 7-3 in the ninth inning. Dick Gabriel, Doug Flynn. Here's what really broke things open early, our play of the game. Hunter Dozier with a fly ball off the fists. Jeremy Rathjen just couldn't haul it in. Bases loaded with 2 out. That cleared him a 3-run double back in the third inning. Part of a 5-run uprising. That's the difference right now, basically, in a 7-3 game. Northwest Arkansas with the lead, trying to add to that, and we'll have to do that against a new pitcher.
Jeremy Horst come in the game, Dick, and he's got a really good changeup.
Last time he pitched last Friday, when an inning gave up a hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, no decision, and a 2-1 win by the Drillers. Lane Adams trying to find his way on for the 3rd time tonight. Some of the numbers for Hurst: 32 strikeouts in 25 innings, and look at that ERA.
Yep, there's a good look right there. We saw a first pitch fastball, came back with 2 off-speed pitches. And that's the way he's going to pitch. He's going to waste the fastball just a little out of the strike zone, then come back, try to get you to swing at his pitch.
Got the barrel on it, base hit, number 3 on the night for Lane Adams. He's 3 for 4. Leadoff man reaches. Now
Good at
Raul
bats.
Mendesi. Mondesi's had a fun night. A couple of base hits. He's driven in 2, drawn a walk. Nice defensive night as well at shortstop.
He's been solid. There's 10 hits now for the Naturals.
Yep. Drillers had won 4 straight going into last night's ball game. The Naturals won at 11-10. Runner goes. Great jump by Lane Adams. Second steal of the night for the Naturals.
Well, he's gone on first movement right there. He didn't even hesitate. That's just a straight steal. Mondesi does a good job protecting the pitches on the inside. And, well, the Naturals, they've been ready to run when they get on base.
Mondesi rated the overall #1 prospect in the Kansas City Royals organization. Hunter Dozier's ranked number 6. Perhaps some Royals of the future. Nobody out, runner in scoring position. Naturals want to get that run back. The 5 spot in the 3rd. The 1 big inning for the Naturals. That's the difference right now, as I said earlier. Otherwise, something of a pitcher's duel.
Well, I tell you, one of the things Mondesi will have to work on, it's the 2nd time he's been called to lay a bunt down, and he's been unsuccessful both times.
Mentioned the Drillers with a couple of steals tonight. They stole 4 last night.
Pretty successful night for the Naturals, hitting with runners in scoring position.
5 for 11.
And they've had a lot of guys in scoring position too tonight.
Putting a lot of pressure on this Tulsa pitching staff.
Well, there's so much turnover in AA baseball, though. Guys going up, AAA, or even to the big leagues, keep moving. And so the team you start with at the first of the year is not necessarily what you're going to have even this early in the season.
Mondesi chases. That's out number 1. And a big out for Horst. Saw Chris Reed earlier out of the bullpen for Tulsa. He's the number 10 overall prospect for the Dodgers. We will not see Julio Urias tonight. He's a starting pitcher. I believe he goes tomorrow night. He's rated the number 2 overall prospect by the Dodgers. You mentioned the movement for both teams. Dodgers have made a lot of moves this year with Tulsa, but almost all have been pitchers.
Yeah.
Alex Liddy. Base hit, a walk, 1 for 3 tonight. Liddy likes playing against the Drillers, evidently. Against them this year, coming into this game, 4 homers, 5 doubles, driven in 8 runs. Of course, covering his position, runner moves up, 2 out.
Well, he got that right off of the end of the back. Looked like it may have a shot to go down and hit off the base. But Anderson does a good job of getting over, and a nice job by Horst to cover.
Now Balbino Fuenmayor. He's also had a good season against these Tulsa Drillers. Although he's 0 for 3 tonight, walked intentionally and scored a run.
We hear a lot of stories about the guys in the minor leagues. This one to me is one of the most, I don't know, it's when you look at a guy that spends 8 or 9 years with an organization, they finally give up on him, then you have to go back to independent ball. You almost have to think, all right, I'm just going to play my career out doing this. And then you get a call back to an organization and you start lighting it up in the league. I think that's fabulous.
On the fist, a running pickup by Oliveira, and that'll do it. Out number 3, and the Naturals leave a runner at third. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. 7-3 Northwest Arkansas. It's the On Deck Minor League Baseball Game of the Week.
Minor League Baseball on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by On Deck, a leading provider of small business loans nationwide. Visit OnDeck.com to see how On Deck can take your business to the next level.
Bottom of the 9th inning here in Tulsa, and the Drillers have some work to do as Sean Zaraga leads things off. 1 for 3 in the night, base hit to center field back in the 4th inning. Aroni Nina on the bump now for the Naturals. 6'4", 181. Out of Bonnie, the Dominican Republic. Split time last year between Wilmington and the Naturals. There's a look at his numbers. Making his 19th appearance. As many innings. Zaraga gives it a ride, but Gore tracks it, and the wind knocks it down, 1 out. You know, we thank so many people here in the ballpark for their hospitality and their help, and a big thanks to Benjamin Kelly, the play-by-play man for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals in his 2nd year in Northwest Arkansas. Dennis Higgins in the radio booth for the Tulsa Drillers. He's been at this for 21 years, not all of them here in Tulsa, but a veteran. Also the radio voice of Butler Community College up in Kansas, or over in Kansas, I should say. They play a really good brand of junior college football.
That's right. He had a little shot at the big leagues, too, with the Giants. Said he enjoyed his time there, but he wouldn't trade what he has here for anything. Wow, nasty.
Daniel Mayora looks at a really nice slider from him.
96-mile-an-hour fastball and 83-mile-an-hour big breaking slider.
There's the 0-2 being back with, I don't know, was that a fastball?
That's another slider.
Slider?
Yep.
Whatever it was strike 3.
Believe me, I've seen enough of those just like that, with my rear end going one way and the ball going the other. It's, as they say, you know, my heart was in it, but the rest of me wasn't. You know, his numbers aren't that impressive right now, but he's got a really good arm and a big breaking ball. Maybe a control issue, maybe just a location issue.
Now Brandon Dixon. As the Drillers are down to their last out. Brandon looking for his first base hit. Fans still looking, the kids still looking for the souvenir baseball. What a good breaking ball. Some things never change from ballpark to ballpark. The race for the foul ball.
Always remember the smell of a new baseball or a used baseball. I thought that's the coolest thing in the world.
Better. Nothing better. I mentioned earlier, a lot of fans still here at the ballpark. Despite a 4-run deficit. 2-2. Well, he wanted to end it right there, didn't he?
He sure did. Try to throw a little bit extra. 97 mile an hour on that pitch. Of course, he may be one of those guys, too, that likes to watch that gun. And maybe one of his issues.
And he walked him. So the Drillers are alive. 1 on, 2 out. Jeremy Rathjen try to keep this game going. Rathjen 6'5", 195. Born in Houston. Easy stolen base. Really, it's just a defensive indifference. Brandon Dixon takes second. Rathjen tore an ACL back in 2011. He was drafted out of Rice. Missed most of the spring before his junior year. Came back and was All-Conference USA his senior year. Was drafted in the 11th round by the Dodgers. Chased another nasty breaking ball. Rathjen hit the ball hard tonight. Infield single in the 3rd. Lined out to left in the 5th. Nina up 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, I tell you, Dick, that breaking ball breaks a lot, and that may be one of his problems. He's got so much break on. It's almost like a slurve, but it's a, it's a good one, and somewhere between that slider and curveball, and he's going to have to try to find a way to control it a little bit. He almost has to start it right at the hitter.
2-2. Northwest Arkansas has come to Tulsa and made it 2 straight wins over the Drillers by a final of 7-3. A big 5-run 3rd inning is the difference. And then the bullpen shut the Drillers down. Gave up that 1 run in the 8th inning, but Tulsa just couldn't get anything going.
Well, that time he just came with the heat. And you're right. We saw a pretty good pitching effort by the Naturals after they settled down. And Farrell threw the ball really well. And the bullpen came in, as you're right, closed the door, and they got some big hits, 10 hits altogether tonight. And especially key were getting the base hits with men in scoring position.
Well, Stoltz led things off with a couple of sharp innings for Tulsa from the mound, but then really ran into trouble in the 3rd inning. And Kenny DeKroger led things off with a big fly. The wind was blowing in, but he managed to get it up in the jet stream. First ball swinging in the 3rd, and he greeted Stoltz with a big fly to left. That got the Naturals on the board, and then it just kept happening. Balls kept finding their way through the infield. More coming around. There's that flare we showed you earlier. Hunter Dozier dumped it into left. Drillers just couldn't chase it down. It was a 3-run bases clearing double that made it 5-0. So the Drillers were playing catch-up ball. From that point on, another run comes around as Mondesi delivers a run-scoring infield single. Drillers tried to come back on their own. A couple of runs in the 4th inning. Oliveira with an RBI single. And a sac fly brings in another run. But just not enough offense for Tulsa. And in the 6th inning, wild pitch brings in a run. Northwest Arkansas stayed with a comfortable lead. An RBI double by Lars Anderson provided the final run of the night. That happened in the 8th inning and made it 7-3. Tulsa put a runner on in the 9th, but just couldn't make it happen. Farrell gets the win. Stoltz takes the loss. Each has a record of 1-1. Great crowd tonight, 7,565 in a game that took 2 hours and 36 minutes to play. That's it from Tulsa, where the final score is 7-3. Coming up next week, Mississippi versus Tennessee in Kodak, just outside of Knoxville. We'll see Malik Smith and Kyle Schwarber going at it. Big numbers. We hope we'll have a big night from those guys. We hope you can join us at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on the CBS Sports Network. 7-3 the final off of Route 66. For Doug Flynn, Lauren Gardner, our entire crew, I'm Dick Gabriel. Coming up next, Showtime Boxing. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Thanks for joining us. That's it. Good night from Tulsa.